There are a high number of homosexual priests in the United States. That number is difficult to say. Estimates range from 23 to 58%. That high number of priests who share similar characteristics, which means that the church needs to consider the challenges and gifts offered by those groups, men who seek to serve God and the church. This is Praise for What by Robert C. Reinhardt. There she is again, always with that same awful black dress. I never see her at Mass or at Communion. Why does she come here? Is she a lapsed Catholic? Is it too cold out? Is she crazy? It feels colder in here. Well, here she goes again, lighting another candle. That's the third candle she's lit, and I still haven't heard any money go into the box. Oh God, she's turning around. Don't see me, don't see me. You've lit your candle, lady. Why don't you go home and give me a few minutes alone? I just want some peace, and I can't even find it in my own church. Are you here because you've sinned, lady? Big sins, little sins, venial, mortal? I'm tired of confessing. God, give me some new sins. Give poor Father Gilberty a break. I confess the same things every week, and he gives me the same advice and the same penance. Bless me, Father, for I am about to bore you to death. I have had frequent impure thoughts, had accidents. What else can I call them? And how would that saintly old man take care that I take the cross off my wall? Because I can't keep my eyes off it. Who created that incredibly beautiful body? You lied, Father Flynn. You lied. In the seminary, you said this past. Once you're working 18 hours a day in some parish, me boy, you'll go to bed too tired to even think of it, says he. You see, me boy, there is no room for impure thoughts in exhausted minds. Wrong, Father Flynn. Wrong. There's a room for an army in there. And when I told him I had tendencies, says he, well, terrible as they are in the eyes of Christ, those tendencies won't keep you from serving your Saviour if you don't act on them. Shower alone, me boy. Shower alone. The road to salvation is flooded with cold water. And that old fraud must have told George the same thing. Shower, George. Shower. No wonder they said George was going crazy. Water on the brain, but he didn't look crazy when I found him. He looked exhausted. No. He looked as if he was pleading with me. As if he wanted me to help him. How could he do that to himself and then just sit there waiting to bleed to death? I couldn't understand what I was seeing, and I can't stop seeing it. Over and over again, I see the same thing. How did he do that much damage with that dull knife and that filthy blue rag in his mouth? Couldn't understand that for days. Of course course he bit it to keep from screaming. Just sitting there on the stones in his blood and not saying a word. Just trying to beat me off, just trying to get me to leave him the hell alone. Father Shea said it was God's will that I found him and I should thank God. I don't. I just don't want George to hate me for stopping him. What did they do to him? It doesn't matter. He's no good to man nor God. She's lighting another candle. And I still didn't hear any money go in the box. I really should speak to her. Oh, hell with it. Go ahead. Light them all, lady. What keeps me here? God, help me. I don't give a damn about people. I only half listen to them, and I tell them things I only half believe. But they look at me and they hope I do, because if I don't, what's left? Oh yes, my child, there's hope in hopeless situations. There. It's God's will. Throw them a little something to keep terrible things from scaring them to death. To keep them from wanting to kill me for being a fraud. Can't believe the cause of murderous thoughts in their hearts. That would be leading them to sin. Would it? Confessions are the worst. How do I hear another confession from some poor man who had sex with another man? Your immortal soul is in grave danger. Say 30 Hail Marys. No. Say 29. We having a suspicion. How do I tell that man who was with his lover that he must not touch his Edmund or sleep with him? Every week I tear another piece of him. He asks me why God set him Edmund to love if it's an immortal sin. It's God's way of testing you, and you must cease sinning. I want to tell him to stop coming to me before Edmund gets fed up and leave him. And wouldn't that be a sin? Would it? But I want to tell all the men to run. Even that wretched man who tells me he lusts after little boys. I tell him to honor his marriage. I give him endless rosaries to say, just to keep him busy, not busy enough. I tell all the married men to avoid occasions with other men so they won't sin. When I listen, I want to know more, to have them listen every detail to the grill. does tell me everything. He talks to me so softly that I have to put my ear against the grill and then I can feel his breath on my ear. He tells me he doesn't want to lose his soul, but he can't give up life. Be celibate like me, I tell him. Sometimes I tell him to pray, to want a family, to want a woman. But like all of us here, we tend to want something more, something we all can't